Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the highlights of game number 2, where you may be surprised to see that Hanhwa Life was not able to take the victory here. KEG getting very aggressive, punishing Hanhwa Life time and time again. Able to take game number 2, which means we will have a third game to round out this series.
The execution was so good from the side of KEG Seoul. Those squads very rarely pick up any games. We're trying to rack our brains. And did actually overlook that KEG, one of the other squads, not Seoul, did pick up a game off Jin Air last season. But even though that's similar, we're talking about a team that finished 6th in spring and summer, dropping a game to a team with no coach on this stage after that first game loss. Very impressive stuff from the side of KEG Seoul. And now I'm sure everyone out there, everyone loves an underdog. Now we're looking and gunning to see if KG Seoul can actually take the series.
That's definitely the story here. I mean, there was one time there where Hanhwa Life were able to come back, it seemed, but after that, no, it was all the KEG Seoul show. And while they pounce on the Ash, I think definitely some of what this game was the draft, if Hanhwa Life did get behind, was going to be dreadful for them, and especially because Olaf got so fed, just ran at the back line. Time and again. They could not overextend, but you'll notice here, they do one time, they get too far away from their turret, and all of a sudden, it's Olaf, Akali, and Galio right in your face, ready to shut you down.
Like a hot knife through butter, the Olaf, in taking down those immobile backliners. So goodbye, Hanhwa Life Esports 2-0 expectation, and hello to a 1-1 between these two squads. Looking over the damage numbers, once again, a team effort from the side of KEG. 3 members above 10,000, and Gamuyusi being able to put out 14,000 damage, the most in the game. Felt like there was some issues between some of the new players, and there is going to be a roster swap on the side of Hanhwa Life.
That there is. Should we wait until it comes up on screen?
We will.
Okay, and we're not going to spoil it for you guys. You may go through the Hanhwa Life lineup and think, hey, who kind of, had a weak game? Who do you think should be subbed out? You can play a little mini game here, as we have told you that some people are going to be subbed out on the side of Hanhwa Life.
I think So1 definitely earned his paycheck for that one. He was pretty good on the Aatrox.
For sure.
So would have been surprised to see him take it out. We're going to start on the other side, as KEG only have 5 players and no coach, so no surprises there.
Yeah.
There is Coach Onair, the original MIG coach, so one of the oldest people when it comes to time spent in the Korean League of Legends scene.
It's Lava.
And it is going to be Lava, the usual mid lane starter. He's coming in, Tempt is out, but Bono will be retaining his spot for game number 3 after honestly being a little bit too much lust for vision clearing. His control wards, going for those, took them down a couple of times, and he will retain his spot in spite of that. And how will Hanhwa Life, now back on the red side, find a way to deal with some of these pocket picks and also the meta picks? Because it felt like KEG just put together a really nice squad of champions in game number 2.
Yeah, can't argue with that. They are very skilled players. They know how to draft. They might not have a coach, but they have 5 capable minds that were able to defeat an LCK team. So you do it once, you can definitely do it again. Fortunately for them, Hanhwa Life can easily go back into the break room and say, hey, what went wrong? We're going to sub out Lava, give him a chance to show his stuff. Speaking of which, Lava definitely one of the big Galio players. In the past, definitely Galio has changed a little bit, but if you wanted to hop onto that Galio or perhaps go for some kind of earlier pick on that one, maybe they want to roll that way. We'll have to wait and see, though, guys. This pick and ban is ready for game number 3. Let's jump right into it.
I like that you used the callback for Lava because he was the first AP Galio we ever had in Korea. Loved that pick, and he was the first Proto Bell Galio, which is now the required item build to get over the Nurse the Wave Clear that stops him from shoving as easily. Used to be just an auto attack with his passive into the queue and the minions disappeared, but a little bit more work required for the Galio. The champion damage, though, pretty insane, as we diagnosed over the course of today, the first day of the KeSPA Cup, and Hanhwa Life didn't need to think back too far to diagnose that allowing Doran to play his most played, that Akali, is not something they can afford to do for a second time.
Yeah, Hanhwa Life, they ban him out in game 1, they win. They don't ban him out in game 2, they lose. It looks like a trend is coming in here, Papa. They are going to ban that Akali. Also going to have LeBlanc banned out here. A very similar ban, same ban actually, from KEG in the first round from game number 1.
Lava, a well-known LeBlanc player as well, so that part makes sense with the LeBlanc ban. Aatrox, so 2 flexes taken already. I wonder if they return to the Thresh ban or if they go for something like the Aurelia to really start to crib out some of those flex pick assassins that clearly Hanwha Life doesn't want to deal with.
KeSPA taken off the plate here. We're not going to see her tonight. She's just too strong, even after the 8.24B nerfs. Definitely see her banned out a lot in solo queue even, so it's kind of across the board. Everybody in Korea has said, no, she's too strong. This time around, even though Lava's a strong Galio, they're not even going to give KEG a chance to first pick it here. Galio moving up the table in terms of pick and ban.
Now, Plex, again, a Zoe player. Zoe's the big one for him. Aatrox the second when it comes to win rates here. The Zoe's looking a lot safer when you look at some of the bans here, because the champions that Hanwha Life has been playing deal with it very well. The Aurelia is the one that is still on the board that might cause a bit of a pause. KG going to first pick the Thresh over things like Aurelia, the Nico, and other picks that have been popular is a little bit of a surprise.
Definitely is. I mean, both of these teams in this matchup have been prioritizing the Thresh heavily. I mean, it was first picked by Hanwha Life in game number 1. It was banned out by Hanwha Life in game number 2 in the first round. So everybody just saying, yeah, Thresh is the big-time support nowadays, and they want to get rid of it.
Does mean the Ezreal's left open. It seems like Songyun just wants to be ultra safety mode on the side of Hanwha Life. What will they pair it with? A lot of jungle bans in the previous game. This time, no jungle bans outside of Camille, and the Xin Zhao is going to be taken to once again try to get a dueling advantage. It worked for Bono in the early game, before all the lust for control wars really shut them down. They were controlling the Olaf very, very well. So they're going to return to the Xin Zhao and hope that some of Bono's decision-making levels up after the break.
Yeah, I think overall the early game was nice, and thinking about now returning to the Caitlyn Thresh. I believe we did see not. No, I'm thinking about the Caitlyn Braum that we did see. But either way, the Caitlyn will make her return up here against Ezreal.
One of the matchups that Caitlyn was always really preferred into just because of how much harass and pushing power that Caitlyn has, and Thresh a ranged support with it. Really powerful duo lane. LM's going to return to the Olaf. Again, it worked when it did, but previous to that, it looked like it was going to struggle, and they don't have a Galio follow-up either here after the Galio ban, so they're going to leave top main and mid main, the solo queue names of Doran and Plex respectively, to have at least a single counter pick in the second round, but Hanwha Life, they get a couple of bans first before they have to pull the trigger on any blind pick solo lanes.
Yeah. We see Tom Kent is going to be foregone to just go for the Braum once again. It's been a lot of priority on Thresh and Braum in this series, it seems like. So that is going to be the final pick, to go up alongside the Ezreal. We'll enter the second phase of bans here. Still mids and tops available, as you were mentioning, and already a bunch of them banned out here. Could go down to the wire and maybe see some new stuff with some extra bans.
If I'm KG, I ban away the Aurelia to once again open up something like the Zoe to come through from Plex. It won't be a surprise to Lava, and Lava could go to something like an old favorite, Echo, for example, to try to deal with it. Here is that Aurelia ban, so I'm a fan of that from the side of KG. What will Hanwha Life's final ban be? Because they just want to lock in a super safe champion at Songyun's pick, maybe a Sion, which can flex between top and mid as we saw at Worlds. But not every team has their macro around to play a comp like a Sion comp, especially in patch 8.24b. Let's see what Hanwha Life does here. They want to ban something away, and it's going to go away with the Victor, another possible blind pick.
Was banned out there by Hanwha Life in the first phase of bans when they were on the blue side for game number 2. But yeah, definitely one of these picks that we have been seeing more often here in our very small pool of games that we have seen so far for the KeSPA Cup. And actually, Syndra is going to be banned.
I think we're screaming Zoe for the side of Plex.
Looks like it.
Syndra, another champion. We actually saw Lava smash a Zoe as Syndra in LCK Summer, so how do Hanwha Life diagnose all of this? They need to blind pick something. The Rise, a nice flex pick. That's going to be what they take first. Let's see if KG Seoul will give us that Plex Zoe that we'd love to see, if they have something even spicier to serve up.
Well, we like spicy food here
in
Korea. A lot of us eat it, even us guys here that aren't Korean. So what are we going to see? Well, Sion, definitely a very plain dish. You know, your meat and potatoes, add a little bit of salt and pepper, but you're not really going past that. So are we going to see any spice here from the side of KEG Seoul? Anything new to go into the mid lane, or just the expected Zoe?
We're going to see what comes out. Even the Zoe is hype, and that is, of course, a champion that previously you look over because of who is playing it. Mid-main, known as Plex for KEG, is that massive Zoe fan. He will take the Zoe as the bans, and as all of our preparation did indicate, Echo is a possible answer to the Zoe, and we know that Lava plays it. Is there anything else he wants to prepare here? I'd love to see a Lava pop off in this game. One of the big stars of 2018 was Lava, coming out of nowhere and being such a dominant mid laner. Ryze can go mid or top. What we're getting?
Whoa.
Hello.
Okay.
We're getting it.
There
Here
she
it is.
Fiora comes out, and I can tell, you know, maybe we will see that coming into the mid lane, or looks like it's going to be going up to the side of Sowan for now.
Sowan made his name originally. We're talking years ago now. He's been around the scene for the better part of 4 years.
A long time.
But he made his name as a Riven main, as a carry player. So, we just saw a Riven main win Worlds, the Shy. Just having it and bopping people left, right, and center at Worlds. I'd love to see him on it, unless Lava wants to show us something new about a Fiora mid lane matchup. It's not the Aurelius. I'd be surprised to see it. The seconds tick down, and we will end up seeing the Fiora top side. Sion's really good at staying through, but Fiora, come level 16, does so much true damage. With time, Hanwha Life can win, but I notice a lot of tiers, a lot of scaling. Will Hanwha Life have the time to scale away against KEG Seoul in game number 3?
If you play the way you did in game number 1, you go back after game number 2 and you say, let's play like we did in game number 1. Let's scale. Let's get to the late game. We're better than this team. If we just play it like the old-fashioned Korean style, we should be able to win. This is definitely a return to that. Double tier plus Fiora, just like you were saying. But will they be able to cut down on the mistakes? And there is also that wild card in KEG coming in here and actually just shutting them down, you know, outplaying them in the early game, getting big leads, and getting ahead of them too far to the point where Hanwha Life can actually scale. That's really what they're going to be looking for.
And in spite of our expectations, you don't look at this draft and say that Hanwha Life have KEG right where they want them. Yes, there are ways that Hanwha Life win. Honestly, if it reads 30 minutes, they're probably going to win. They have insane scaling on their side, but there's a lot of power, and if you get 3-4 kills, and we saw a couple of times go the way of KEG, a very reliable team comp on the side of KEG. Strong siege, turret destruction, the demolish box come in and the turrets go bye-bye. There's a world where Hanwha Life Esports back-to-back 6th place teams will drop to the pure amateur squad of KEG.
Anything can happen in a best of 3, and now it's a best of 1. And the drafts, as we've mentioned, there's room for both of these teams to step in and take the cake and move on to the round of 8. Can't really heavily favor either one of these sides. Although, Hanwha Life, they do have the experience, and I feel like after game number 2, they should have gone back and really discussed, you know, what was the reason that we lost? Was it just the mistakes? Was it the draft? Could we have done something better? And I believe, it would be my prediction, it's not a hard one to make, that Hanwha Life could come back here and take the cake.
Well, let's give it to us one last time. Let's talk about that cake analogy. Let's get ready for our final game of the night, and it's a spicy one. How could we know that Hanwha Life Esports versus KG Seoul could be spicy? It just wasn't on the cards, but it is now.
Yeah.
Hanwha Life could lose. The draft is certainly not a landslide victory beside Hanwha Life unless all that scaling really comes in. So this is not a time for you guys to tune out. This is a time to pour over what could be a very famous moment in League of Legends esports. We've seen them before. We've seen challenger teams take down KeSPA Cup, but there's challenger and there's solo queue, and that's the sort of drop-off we're registering here. That's what we're talking about when it comes to this final game.
It all comes down to this, just one game already. The players are shouting behind us, getting pumped up before we do jump into this final one. And, man, I would love to see KEG come in here as the underdogs and just overpower Hanwha Life. That would be kind of sad for the Hanwha Life company if they come in here to KeSPA Cup, the heavy favorites. I mean, the odds on this one must be insanely in favor of them. As we mentioned, only, I think, one game before from KG Guangzhou.
It's a handful. It might have been one or two, but no matches, of course. There's never been a KG squad winning a best of 3. No series victories for KG. And we already, I was being very much dogging any chances of even a game victory. We were talking about getting a solo kill as a victory. They've got the game victory. The humble pie is being eaten by Hanhwa Life. We're getting a couple of slices as well. Now we want to see if it's that moment, that moment that is never forget. That moment, just like the Heimerdinger jungle game I referenced 5 years later, like it's relevant. Anything is possible, and that game is ready.
The game is ready, guys. We're going to jump into game number 3 right now. KEG Seoul up against Hanhwa Life Esports. LCK up against an amateur team, but it's a best of 1, and anything can happen. Let's hop onto the Rift for one final game of the night. Find out which team is going to be able to take this one out.
Here we go, loading into game number 3. I wish we had the crowd here cheering with the cheers, but it's a little bit different. This is the KeSPA Cup for the first week. No live audience. We'll have that later for the knockout matches right at the end of the tournament. Here we go. KG looking for a bit of a cheese brush. Sang-yoon doesn't actually spot it. Amusingly, they all move to the left of the brush, and even though there was a 5-man stack, he doesn't know for sure until now.
Finally able to spot them out, so what better way? You've already snuck a game away from an LCK team. Why not go for something a little bit cheesy, especially with the lineup that you do have? You picked that Thresh first, like the idea, and no real counter wards are going to come in because it looks like Hanhwa Life is preparing to go for their own little invade.
Late invade as an answer will be spotted by the Ghost Poro that's already been put down from the side of Elim. Spots it now. So this is a known late invade by Hanhwa Life. No Nico shenanigans here. A 4-man invade. They know all of this. How are KG going to play this one? There's a Jaws moment. That theme is playing oh so loud. Here comes the poking.
Okay, the poke will be good. Lands onto the Braum here. They're not going to overcommit, though. I mean, this is hard. It's 4-on-4. How can you really fully commit unless you get a big hook? But they push them back. The red buff will be Olaf.
And you might say, okay, nothing is stolen. How does this affect things? It's going to take Xin Zhao a long time to jungle. No leash. He gets to his camp much later because he has to walk all the way around. And also KG got first access to the minion wave and bot side. Those are much bigger advantages in a competitive game than they are in something like solo queue.
Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn got all 6 minions from the first wave as well, which means also all of the XP. Take a look at Xin Zhao. He's barely holding on here as Olaf is finishing the red buff nearly around the same time as Xin Zhao's first buff. So these are palpable, visible things that already put KEG in a nice little lead.
First good moment of the early game here is that Olaf is spotted clearing Krugs, looking for a back here. Of course, Olaf, you alluded to it in game number 1, game number 2, I should say, wants to power farm the boots because he is a jungler with Predator, doesn't really have a keystone without the boots. And Bono, looking to go scuttle to scuttle, will be able to get 2 scuttle crabs on spawn.
Not half bad, actually. Isn't going to get too risky, of course. He is only the level 2, but he gets both scuttles. That's easily going to catch him up in this game.
Will he try and get the blue buff? That's where it gets greedy, because it is a back and it is into boots. So there is a keystone active here. Some junglers will just go into Machete for clear. Bono, will he be happy with his first victory, or will he get greedy? Because those cookie jars are what cost the side of Hanhwa Life in game number 2.
Pop going for a nice little flay. Catches both of them, but then kind of flubs the hook. So looked really nice, and then it looked kind of poor.
Man, this lane really sucks for Ezreal Braum. When you get in second, when you're behind and experiencing lane control, to the Caitlyn who puts down all of the traps. Ezreal doesn't have any wave clear, and even now with ultimate can't push as hard as before because there's always that reduced damage to minions and monsters. Means that lane control in what was already a bad lane is heavily to the side of KG. Need to find some good news stories, and Bono's probably going to have to be the one to bring those in the early game for the side of Hanhwa Life.
Nice play there from Key. It actually looks like Gumayusi taking a little bit of extra damage. He also wins the award for having one of the hardest names to pronounce and remember, I feel.
The funny thing is his solo queue account name is SKT21 Catan. What a great name that is.
I know, it's
Why can't we just have Catan? Maybe because that's his SKT name and this is his previous phase.
It's also the name of a board game.
Yeah, Settlers of Catan.
Great. It's a good one.
Well, I guess he's separating that phase of his life, the future, when he rejoins the SKTB squad. And now, the present, though, nice little trade. That's just a solo trade by the support. Maybe Zyra's one you'd assume that would happen with, but that's a Braum solo trade. That's nicely done as that hook goes wide.
I mean, he has always had a reputation for being pretty aggressive and getting in your face and playing weird stuff and playing them in a unique way. So not a big surprise that it does end up being him to go for that play.
Just like no surprise that with Aurelia banned in the second round, with Syndra banned in the second round, we get Plex. He is 61 games, 72% win rate as top 20 challenger on the mid-main account. This guy is a Zoe aficionado. So, excited to see what sort of angles and what sort of shenanigans he can pull off as the game goes on.
Yeah, still waiting on the first blood. Still early on in this one. It looks like Xin Zhao wants to go for the triple scuttle before the Olaf can get a single one. He's going up to the top side, whereas Olaf was looking for a potential gank in the bottom side, but ends up just taking his own Krug, so going to be a little bit behind on those scuttles.
Doing his best score impression. He is the jungler we associate with blanketing the enemy away from scuttles. We're not Spoo TV, so no scuttle crab counter on this one. Rest in peace, but Ilem, honestly, when you're Olaf against Xin Zhao, you kind of want to farm it out. You kind of want to just power farm, which Olaf is great at, and avoid Xin Zhao, especially around level 5-6, where Xin Zhao will pretty reliably win the all-in against the Olaf. So given all of that, Ilem may have been spotted. Right now just playing the angles and seeing what camps are up to give us some idea about where the Xin Zhao is at.
Xin Zhao going to come on in here. Ilem really looking for him in the end. We're going to just see a nice little trade there by Plex, but he is out of mana. The push continues down in the bottom side, but the minion dematerializer that was picked up by the Braum is also helping out. And Bono just being very sneaky, avoiding the axe. The Gromp is not taken. Everybody's kind of hanging around the bottom side looking for some action.
A fun little technical point for some of our eagle-eyed viewers is that Ryze hasn't gone back. Ryze is always about getting the earliest back in possible, right? Just to get his tier. No one can back at the same time as Ryze and feel as good as someone who starts Sapphire Crystal and just gets a super early tier. The reason for that, why he hasn't backed until now, is because it was all about Xin Zhao taking scuttles and taking over the map that Ryze could never back. That means that Plex is stuck around as well, still in the mid lane, first back at 7 minutes. Plex overstays just to match the Ryze, but also because his jungler picked up the first spawn Ocean. It's even stronger than it was before. Ocean Drake was always, if it's the first Drake, man, do you feel good? Now it's even more effective, so that's going to be nice regen for the side of KG.
Definitely, it's true. Sometimes you got to sacrifice for your team. It's also harder when you're in the mid lane and you need to take cleanse up against Zoe to find that really fantastic back because you don't have your teleport. You can't really get back in the lane as fast. So overall, just a bad feel for the Ryze, I suppose. He's going to stack up that tier eventually and be on his merry way anyway. But either way, we did just get a look at the bottom turret and how it is one tick away from getting their first 160 gold.
They need to be in range, though, otherwise the local gold won't happen. In the mid lane, that one goes wide, couple of skill shots missed, and that means that Lava can walk up, push out the wave, and not really going to be any punishment.
Man, Lava, the way he trades and the way he moves is just so good. It would be awesome, I feel, as we were casting, as Lava began to just slowly get better and better and prove that he's really top-level mid laner. What if he got even stronger going into 2019? That would be fantastic for Hanhwa Life.
And we forget things like that, right? He played, what, half a season on the Rocks Tigers, and then we thought we knew what Lava was and wasn't in the mid lane. They brought in Kuzan. We thought Lava wouldn't play. And then a year later, Kuzan's off the roster, and Lava will probably still be their starting mid laner. Could see Tempt in games number 1 and 2. He definitely had the biggest rise when it came to tier list expectation of players from nowhere, 0 to hero, basically, is what happened with Lava. So, take your point there. He's been very, very fun to watch. KG as a squad altogether is that kind of team. So, definitely learning and redefining things. Bono wants to do his best Lava impression on Hanhwa Life because he also will be right down there in terms of the jungle rankings in 2018. So, has a lot of room to grow. But the growing is what Hanhwa Life want to do this game. Lots of scaling. Double tier is going to come out. It's 2014 again. Double tier is analysis point, I guess. The Fiora also. Gonna need time. Level 16, just like Kassadin, to really start doing that true damage. Warden's Mail answered by the Tiamat in this particular game. So things are definitely coming. The horizon is definitely some blue skies for Hanwha Live, but that horizon, like we mentioned, 25, 30 minutes, not now. Waiting for KEG to make their first proactive move of the game.
And where is that going to be? I have my eye set down into the bottom side. I mean, the Rise with Merc Treads and Cleanse against Zoe. Good luck holding that guy down with Justin Olaf and a Zoe. You have already a bit of damage down onto this bottom turret. You could try to get Olaf in there and try to force that one down. Even have Zoe control the side of it and use her Trouble Bubble to zone them away from the turret. Pick up that first Blood turret gold, and then maybe go from there.
I think a lot of it's about what we see on the minimap. Speaking of minimaps, going to see a hook land and the death sentence is not followed up on. If KEG want, they could just play the stacking game and go top side, take away the control ward, take down the Rift Herald, which just spawned a couple of seconds ago. They could just focus on the neutrals for now, and inevitably, bot lane turret will be the place they want to coalesce. They want to take this bot lane turret down and unleash Caitlyn on the map. That's probably still far away, but there's a lot of other things to be taken, and there's not a lot of resistance when people are building tiers and don't really have combat stats to fight this early in the game.
Yeah. Looks like for now they're just getting as much vision into that bottom side as possible. We had someone flash away from a Sion as he got a little bit too frisky. You got to always remember that, I mean, Sion's a tank, but still, he can do some damage. How about a nice extra 160 gold for our Caitlyn? Down on the bottom side gets another stack on that tower.
It's all about priority. The priority in the early game, like we talked about with the scaling, is on the side of KG, and they are not scared. They are not intimidated by the 6th place LCK team near them. There is that bot lane turret. If you get the Rift Herald, the charge just kills that damn turret.
Yeah.
So it's getting super, super low. Here comes Elim. He's just rushing in.
And going for the Predator, it doesn't look like they want to overcommit here, though, especially they don't know exactly what's on the opposite side, don't know where Bono is. Just able to back away from that one.
I'm having a lot of fun watching all the angles Plexus. He's definitely going for the next level bubbles, but they just look bad because they're missing as Lava's going for the straight line juking. So, been fun to watch. Not seeing the value out of this Plex pick just yet. Watching for a bit of a pincer play here. Rises around.
I mean, you just go for 10, 15 bad bubbles, but one of them is going to look like you're a faker god, right? And that's the one that goes up on YouTube and you put into your resume when you're trying to get into some teams.
Is Faker the Zoe player we name as the best possible in Korea? Might be BDD. Is
probably. Nice try on the ward. Lantern not going to be blocked that time around as Gumayusi definitely looked like he was baiting that one as he kind of just ran straight at an Ezreal Braum.
You don't have to be the best at 140 champions at once, it turns out. You can just be 100 or so, like Faker has been in the past. In the mid lane, though, those last couple of skill shots have hit, and suddenly Lava finds himself bereft of all of his HP. KEG seem to be happy enough with a Cloud Drake. I mean, Olaf, the biggest fan of Cloud Drake around. But that does mean that the Rift Herald's going to be going begging a bit for a little bit longer. The blue buff is picked up by Lava. Now he's getting the hell out.
Really awkward spot, but he gets on the edge there around the corner. I didn't even realize the Realm Warp reached that far around, but I suppose it does. Either way, KG immediately say,
rotations.
Hey, yeah, we zoned him out. We got him low. Let's push the turret.
He ain't got no health, no mana. Demolish Block comes in. Goodbye, and hello some gold for the side of KG.
You can see how much damage the Ezreal ult does to the Thresh, but it just doesn't matter. Looks like they're trying to get all of these checkpoints on the tower, as well as getting it down here super early on in the game.
Rise will hate this scenario. It's not even a teleport Rise who can play either side lane. This Rise has cleanse. This Rise on the long laning phase. Wow. Those tiers are a long way from stacking, and suddenly KG have the first gold lead of this game.
That they do. That's a really fantastic read by them, and very impressive for just an amateur team that doesn't have a coach. We mentioned it so many times, but these guys look on kind of another level from anybody's expectations. You know, you just say all those things and you count them out, but they have done everything but disappoint us tonight. And I can't wait to see what else they have in store. They're really accelerating the game, which is something that we said that they had to do. They're able to get one turret. The bottom turret's already low. Where are they going to go from here?
May never see these 5 players play together again. After this tournament, the SKT T1 duo of Elim and Gumayusi will go over to them, and we will see a new KG roster next year, but hopefully we'll see these talents again, because they are putting in, like you say, such a monstrous performance. hopefully we see all these 5 players into that cycle, into that system that these 10 and 15-man rosters do usher in Korea, because whatever happens from here, it has been an amazing performance by KG so far today. Still work to be done to get the big W, but they've won the hearts of men.
That they have. We might be seeing a lot of these players in the future. You know, keep your eyes on them and follow them throughout their careers if you are a fan of one of these players after tonight's games. Already a couple of them being picked up for SKT's trainee squad. As you mentioned, Gumayusi and Elam being those 2 players, but still a bunch of other players being ready and welcome to be picked up by a pro team.
Even if you're a diehard SKT fan, you might not hear much about the players that are never registered on the KeSPA website to be able to play. Very nice escape there as the flash engage from Key goes wide. Let's talk about another player who was an SKT T1 trainee, Amy, who of course is now the starting AD carry for Afrika. Lava, who was the support trainee for the side of SKT, is now the mid laner for Hanwha Life Esports. A lot of SKT trainees in Korea as well. Now there's going to be blood on the hands of Gumayusi.
Yeah, he's not able to do much there to Lava. First blood at 15 minutes 40 goes over to the Rise. Just a fantastic read, noticing Gumayusi overstaying his welcome. Realm Orb to his death as they do pick up the first kill.
First kill of the game will slow down the turret destruction that Caitlyn is always on in the early game. How is this 1v1 looking? I was, again, being pretty transferable and pretty transparent about, just like Kassadin, while Fiora can all-in people, I think Sion is so tanky that level 16 ult is required for the Fiora. That is still 5 levels away. The Lantern play, that one was pretty fly, but this time there was nothing to get away there. The Thresh had already revealed himself going down the river, so no way to get the Caitlyn away that time, but it doesn't really change the game state much, apart from the fact that Hanwha Life have a nifty little 500 gold lead on the back of some farm and also that kill gold.
Will it be another rotation up to the top side going for this Rift Herald? The ping's already coming down. Assist me onto this one, and they will start it up after getting a hefty amount of warding in Hanwha Life from time to time. Definitely impressing in terms of their vision control and macro play. It's been nice to see out of one of our LCK teams, the first one to play here in the KeSPA Cup.
This is all before the tiers cash in, and we see a Muramana and a Seraph's Embrace being worn, and again, before So1 can actually force Sion out of lane. But now still being dictated. So, when it comes to KG, we need to keep saying, have they done enough? The answer is still no. They need to keep pushing forward, and Hanwha Life actually have the Rift Herald and have another way to buy some time by drawing the team to one lane to answer that Rift Herald spawn.
Meanwhile, Sohan down there alone. Looks like the Sion edging up towards the top side. Just going to take the Rift Scuttle for now and return down to the bottom side. But all of this focus up in the top. 3-on-3 right now. Zoe versus Rise in the mid lane. These power spikes, they're really, really close. We got that Muramana on the way. Seraph's Embrace almost stacked up. There'll be only a moment here where KEG really have to do something else. That top turret, they have their eyes on it, but can they actually pick it up here?
We're going to have to judge KEG on their Baron play, because Baron spawns in a couple of minutes, and right now, they haven't found any further objectives. Not even the Ocean Drake, which is a bit of a freebie. They're focusing on these turrets. The Demolish proc from the Thresh comes in. They're not going to finish it off yet, and if Hanwha Life can continue to repel pushes, there's no advantage
look at that
gained.
snipe. Not going to amount to much, but looked cool.
Braum was there, so I wasn't too excited.
I was getting excited. We know what happens when people get excited here. At least it's the KeSPA Cup.
They win LCK Summer 2018.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. That's the most recent update to that kind of thing here in Korean League of Legends. But they had their eyes on the top turret. They're going to get it.
That, of course, will be the reigning champions of the KeSPA Cup. Winners of 2017 was KT Rolster. Here is that Rift Herald. They're finally trying to draw over KG, who probably wanted to come mid lane after that top lane kill anyway. Ocean Drake is down. The Cloud Drake's not being picked up, and Doran doesn't take any damage from you, So1.
Just go for the Bramble Vest, any kind of armor. Just stack it on up, and as Sion, you just laugh in her face for a lot of the early in the mid-game.
It's no point even to use the ultimate. You might need it for a team fight.
Just
So
wait.
very, very frustrating if you're So1.
Cloud Drake for Olaf. Finally going to come in here, it seems. No pressure from the side of Hanwha Life. Just going to have to give that one up.
Could have been a lot earlier, so that's probably about 3 minutes worth of Drake. Could have been 2 minutes away from the next Drake spawn. We will investigate in a moment, but a Cloud and an Ocean now being won proudly by KG. Farm numbers, mid lane looking very, very happy for the Rise. Up 30 CS so far in this game. And those tier transformations, 2 of them down, 1 more to come as Sungyun sticking with his scaling approach.
Still going to wait on that one. Just going back to the new old kind of Ezreal build. I'm going to hold that thought as here's Doran finally making his debut here on the team stage. Looking for the hook onto the Braum. The Scion's in the middle of 3 people.
Where's the backup?
Okay, Bono coming in from the backside. He's going to get on top of Plex. They're going to flash away from that one, but Doran is going to go down first. Not quite able to take out Key, and now Flex is in a terrible position. Is going to go down. That's going to be 2 kills over to Hanwha Life.
Those are the coordination mistakes that these teams like KG are likely to make. All of that tanky Scion's health bar was for nothing. It wasn't sustaining damage so that his carries could do damage. KGS wasn't even there. Unfortunately, he couldn't get any work done in that fight at all. So nice pickups for the side of Hanwha Life. No objective behind it. Let's watch the replay. Doran rushes in. Just didn't have the information to make a play like that. He also ults up, so not really in range of the W, and I don't even know if that was available there, the Dark Passage from the Thresh. So basically the entire tanky health bar is for nothing, and well, when it's the Zoe, just like we saw in our first series, those are what you have to pay. Those are the costs you have to pay for the mistakes and positioning of your teammates.
Yeah, even goes for the flash. All of the summoners burned from all 3 of the members that were in that debacle. Scion, Zoe, and Thresh. So it's going to be another moment in time where you're just kind of going to be on the back foot when you want to be pressuring, and that's not the mistake you can make if you want to win this game as KEG. Definitely does come down to that. I feel like maybe a other top LCK team would have taken this draft, been really aggressive, and won the early game a lot harder than KEG has been struggling to do so far.
Do notice Stone Mail, second completed item. Again, all Darn wants to do is delay the Fiora as much as possible. When it comes to a team fight, you could look at it and say, oh, they just want to kill the Rise, burst them down, and then have an armor stacker against the rest of Hanwha Life. But honestly, it's just to keep the Fiora away from the fight for as long as possible and keep her in check, because this matchup, level 16, fast approaching, really is Fiora favored later in the story.
So Bono goes bot. Not sure if they saw him go on that one, but they'll still take this opportunity to clear out a bunch of the vision and take back vision control for KEG up towards the Baron side.
Need to push in mid lane. No way to get this 3rd turret. So 22 minutes in, top and bot lane down. Sorry, it's no bot lane turret. There's actually wave coming in mid. So given that, they could have looked for a different lane assignment here, KEG, having already got the mid lane turret. But they're trying to balance map control and not really gaining anything from it. They're not gaining anything from Caitlyn pushing. In fact, Ezreal's just kind of gaining time to farm out his 3-4 items and charge up his 2nd tier. So that's kind of a small issue here, is that if you look at the minimap, KG isn't building towards anything with their lane assignments. The sort of thing that's definitely going to go amiss when the coaching side of things we've established a couple of times is one of the things that KG does lack on.
Well, they're going pretty deep for this vision now, the Zoe and the Thresh. We've seen what Zoe can do with the Baron control. Just using those walls to zone them out with trouble bubbles and land a bunch of paddle stars to make them very discouraged to go into that Baron. Something you can do most of the time on the blue side when you have vision control.
What is the next step for KEG? For Hanwha Life, again, looking at the clock. We said 30 minutes before his mid lane.
Oh, wow, the flash on in. They want this guy, but a perfect Lantern once again. As Pop really on top of his Thresh. They first picked the Thresh. We're beginning to see the reason why.
Great trust between Gumiyushi and Pop as well. No other summoner used apart from heal from Gumiyushi there. And like you mentioned, the Lantern in the terrain was very, very deceptive. So nice little emergency escape there. Still, we're waiting for KG to make the practice. We're surprised to see it's Hanwha Life who want to double down on their scaling with some kills and extra gold in the game. Walking over to the Drake, it's a 2nd Cloud Drake, which is not exactly what KG is looking for I feel like they're leaving the door ajar for Hanwha Life to scale, just like Game 1 ended up being decided by.
Looks like they're still going to commit to getting the Cloud Drake either way. They're preparing for it, at least, and going to pick up this blue first and foremost. Definitely not a battlefield you want to give your all and die for right now is the Cloud Drake, but could consider it an option if nothing else is happening. They are going to start it now.
This one down, that means there's a possibility of 2 more. I mean, very difficult. You'd have to rush the second one very, very quickly, but 24-54 means 29-54 is the next Drake pickup. So probably going to be Elder just after 35 minutes, which doesn't quite fit the timeline we're talking about. You want it earlier because that's when this Fiora is going to be level 18 and 4-5 item. You'll take what you can get. Hearing a lot of voices, a lot of chatter between both the sides of KG and Hanwha Life. The game is still on a bit of a knife's edge, even if you look at Hanwha Life with a 3,000 gold in a scaling advantage and say, we're pretty close to them, maybe having their way with a 5v5.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a team fight where if it doesn't go very cleanly for the side of Hanwha Life, there's a bunch of pick on the side of KEG. You have your Caitlyn nearing 3 items, trying to build up to that IE. You begin to have enough damage with the Olaf and the Zoe and just a bit of poke from the Caitlyn if you can get a team fight going in your directions just to start off with. So Hanwha Life still have to be careful, even though soon they're going to be very happy with their position.
And that's the hope, is that you look down the lineup here, you see no armor to speak of really, and you say, well, when the Infinity Edge is done and you put down some traps around Baron, there's the chance that you make one wrong move contesting that Baron, you get taken down toot sweet by the side of the Caitlyn. I believe with this recall, she'll have it now. And this is the one moment I look at and say, we're 26 minutes in, I don't think KG ever gets stronger than they are right now, and we look at Hanwha Life and say, yep, they still got some growing to do.
Yeah.
So given that, what can KG do before the clock strikes 30, and while their items are in a really great spot?
Well, we've seen Lava be very aggressive in times before, trying to flash on top of the Caitlyn to go for a kill so that they can get this game going in their favor. He doesn't have his flash right now, still does have the cleanse and a big Seraph's Embrace shield. So not going to be in too much trouble for now, but has to still be careful without that summoner.
Control wards are dominated around the Baron for KG, but they are under turrets and revealing. Rise takes a lot of damage here. We'll have to blow the cleanse.
Yeah, that means he doesn't have cleanse or flash. Now the hook, unfortunately, a little bit wide, but definitely was one of those fights I was talking about. If that lands, maybe you can burst down someone and begin to just get the snowball rolling when you need it the most.
That is the what if they're looking for. The Zoe is, of course, level 15 and starting to look for options here, but the terrain doesn't suit the Trouble Bubble. So for now, Lava may have to go for a recall, but nothing else gained by KG.
I mean, Gumayusi steps up and autos the Rise twice, and he loses half of his health bar. You got to be really careful, especially red buff Caitlyn. They're setting up the traps, and they might just start it here.
This is at least the bait, if not more. There's another check gone. What's left? Blue Trinket's on cooldown, Valdez.
Doesn't look like they know.
It's time to start it.
Yep, they're starting it right now. Begin the Baron, they say. Unfortunately, they don't have anything, and now they're going to be checked. The TP still coming in. Looks like they want to commit to this for now.
Sion is here. Careful. They need to at least go for something.
There they go. They're going to catch him in the hook. Key is able to get his own ultimate off, but this could be. Look at Gumayusi on the top side just autoing down Bono. Is able to take him out here. Is Doran on the Sion. And now it's Lava versus 5. And going on in here is Flex trying to go 1v2, looking for the ace and a bit more. And KEG, a huge fight goes in their favor.
And it's exactly when they needed it. Exactly as they turned on with the Infinity Edge. They make the Baron play we talk about, Valdez. And now they're going to go back to the Baron. And Fiora and Ezreal, short of an Ezreal ultimate steal, there's not much they can do.
There's absolutely nothing they can do. We'll see if Sungin wants to try for it. I'd say you might as well. They're just going to begin pushing the waves and using that to try to get something on the back of it.
Here's the Ezreal ultimate.
Here it is. Looks like it's a little bit early. Here, this is going to kill Elim, actually. So a little bit extra. Able to take out the Olaf on the backside, but still will go to the side of KEG. Nothing else to steal it here as Caitlyn is going to take it down.
4 Baron buffs, and all that Baron gold goes the way of KEG. And now our voices get louder because the upset to end all upsets gets more possible. We watch the engage here. Sion completed the teleport. You're coming through. You can't cancel teleports anymore, so of course they're going to go in. And there's just no way for Hanwha Life to deal with a free-firing Caitlyn and all the other backline damage that Caitlyn and Zoe were able to provide. Yes, Plex couldn't get the solo kill on Sungyun, but he was able to zone both the Fiora and the Ezreal from the 5v5. So honestly, it was a bit of a 5v3 and 2 kills and a Baron go the way of KG.
And Gumayusi just identifying this, is able to get on in there. Doesn't even have to use flash, just his positioning and his mechanics. He's so clean on this Caitlyn. Definitely has this champion well practiced, is able to just even get the blue trinket down. Is in a bit of trouble here, though. Is forced to flash away from this one. Very unfortunate there. Now the Caitlyn not going to have flash or heal. Caught in a bad spot that time around.
But still had the flash because of how well he played the previous fight. And Gumayusi, we've already mentioned, SKTT1 trainee. He is also the brother of Innovation, the StarCraft pro gamer. Oh, Doran, you did the first part so well!
Oh, I love that kind of play where he moves away from that one. Now he's still on the run, but here we go again. Thresh in position, pop. He's looking to pop off big time on this Thresh now. Looking for the sleep onto the Braum. There's the hook. They have enough burst damage, and even though Ezreal getting really scary, they're able to pick up another kill.
And the most that Hanwha Life can get is a sneaky, opportunistic Ocean Drake. They'll rush it down, but while they get the full value of the 1 stack, it's not the Drake they're looking for. That means Elder spawns at 3550, and that means that KG have position on the mid lane wave. The Caitlyn rolls in with another Zeal, and Hanwha Life have to recall to get back on the map.
They have to push away so far from the jungle, though, just to get the recalls off. As you mentioned, that mid-lane positioning.
They didn't use the Demolish procs. They got Demolish here as well.
Ooh, on a ward there, Solon going to lose half his health. This could be an inhibitor with the Baron buff coming on in. It looks like Hanwha Life is just going to have to give this one away for now. See if they can actually pick this one away. Final shot there by Gumayusi. And that does mean that now an inhibitor down for the side of KEG.
Damn, they are so close. We've written it in pencil. KEG Seoul beat Hanwha Life. The pen, the inking is not there. But the Demolish Rock is there. Goodbye goes this inner turret. The gold lead is slender, but it's on the side of KEG, and no value out of the Fiora is the big struggle here. We're at the point where with the items, you should be able to split push down this Sion. But if we keep grouping, maybe it doesn't matter.
Just unfortunate situation, one after another, where you can't really have the Fiora not join in that fight where it looks like it's going to happen 100%. And then after that, just being zoned out effectively by the Zoe. She's going to begin it now. But is it too late is the question. Have KEG bitten off enough to kill the beast of Hanwha Life? We're going to have to wait and see. Doran picking up a couple of kills for himself. He's even gotten a bounty at this point. Has a stone plate, a gargoyle stone plate, as well as a giant's belt. Looking maybe at a Warmogs here, and he is just unbelievably beefy.
Are we just going to see Warmogs Randuins for like the craziest armor stack ever? He is so ungodly tanky on this Sion. It is outrageous. And finding time for Lava to split push. Remember, he doesn't have teleport, so if they have to react fast, and it's actually the fast rotational play from KEG. Lava needs to back soon.
And just look at how well they're playing as a team here. KEG bonding over the last couple of weeks, preparing for KeSPA Cup. They're okay to take this trade, it looks like. Willing to take a 5v4 fight as well. Look at Bono. He's essentially out of this one now. Elim getting it on in there, saying, I'm looking for blood now. And finally the Rise comes back. Pop. Oh, he nearly gets popped there by the Ezreal. Might go down here, but he does have the stopwatch and the beefcake in the front line as Doran. But the chase is beginning. They want to get that Sion in the Olaf. He's going to flash away and live. Here comes Rise looking for a catch on the backside, but they have vision on him, and they're still on the run.
True Shot Barrage is going to be up. It'll get a double kill here if it hits Pop and Elim. Waiting for Sungyun. He's on a wall. It's not going to be a surprise one. Oh boy! That Ezreal ultimate buff was going to come up big there. Speaking of big, they get the recall out of Rise. He doesn't even get the inhibitor turret, but the glass half full side for Hanwha Life is that the inhibitor doesn't go down. As that's just an ult. He just took 980 damage after resist.
Yeah.
Well, We come into the replay here. Pop took so much damage early that he had to use the stasis, and from here, Doran may be comically tanky, but no one is doing damage. We talked before about how he made a mistake in positioning and wasn't able to get any Caitlyn damage out of it. So many almosts on the side of KEG, but no further kills means this game stays ultra competitive.
Didn't expect this to go to Game 3 in the first place, nor for Game 3 to be this exciting, as now it's turning into a slugfest finally for the bottom lane. Sohan finally has some pressure, has a Bloodthirster now, but how about a Zoe in the mix? See if they can pick it off. Is going to miss on the Paddle Star and the Trouble Bubble. They're
really want
everything for this guy, and they do take him out. Plus, a big bounty is going to go over to Zoe.
They drive him into the ground while Baron is 10 seconds away from spawn. It's a 57-second death timer. Fiora's not going to be there for Baron. This gets them the Baron, so it vindicates the use of the real flash there from Plex and Doran. We walk over to Baron. Hanwha Life Esports backs against the wall once more.
You talked about the pressure for finally this Fiora, level 18, to put on some pressure in the bottom lane and force that Zion to come back and stop it. She overstays a little bit, and now she's going to pay for it. Goes down. Lava here on the left side looking for a pick, but the TP's going to come in.
Super minions don't have to be pushed in for now. Lava gets hit, but he flashes away.
Oh, that ultimate does so much damage from the Ezreal, but oh man, on the top side, where did the Rise even go? Now it's up to the Sion looking for a follow-up. The Xinjiao gets in there, has a stopwatch, and everybody's incredibly low, but they still should be able to take out Bono, and they want to get the rest of the squad. They want to end this game potentially. Looking for the stun, it's not going to happen. Everybody's just way too low to really follow up here, but
Sohan to get all the kills!
Sohan coming in the back, he's 1 versus 4, but everybody's so incredibly low, too much CC, and he's going to go down as well. He wasn't able to get anyone, basically, just the one in the Olaf, and now here comes the push.
And now they're coming in. Now, this inhibitor's going to respawn soon, but KG,
wants
they
his
want to
ult.
end the game.
He wants his ult. He just got it back. He needs to get a big one. How's it going to do? It's not going to hit any of the low members. That's exactly who we needed to hit. They're pushing on in here. They want to end this one. The death timer's so low.
5 seconds of lava. It might not be enough.
It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. They're going to take out the turrets, and it doesn't look like Ezreal can do it alone. One hook is going to make him useless, and down it goes. KEG, the huge upset. They take out Hanwha Life in an unbelievable game. Game 3 goes to KG Seoul. They definitely deserve it.
The amateur squad with no coach has just reverse swept the 6th place finisher in LCK Spring and LCK Summer. We will see KEG go to places they've never gone before. They will make it to the round of 8 of the first round robin here in the KeSPA Cup. What an amazing victory there, and a damning loss for the side of Hanwha Life.
Can hardly believe it. I was coming into this one, I was saying Hanwha Life, they're so good from the last year. They pick up a nice little roster. This should be an easy one. And I don't even feel like Hanwha Life underestimated these guys or played too fun or picked weird things. No, they just got outplayed. I mean, they made some mistakes in Game 2. The momentum certainly went to the side of KEG, but definitely not good feels. As you can see, it's written all over their faces.
I think Hanwha Life's problems were kind of multifaceted though, Valdez, because they were not playing proactive. It's not like KEG was at every moment, but Hanwha Life are the team with the mountains of infrastructure and coaches. They should know exactly how they need to play, but the way they were trying to win in both the game they won and the game they came very close to winning, they were obviously in the running for Game 3 a little bit longer, was scaling. They were looking for scaling comps in a patch that's supposed to all be about early action, and the inaction, I think, is what people will remember. A hugely famous victory, and I think people look and they misunderstand terms like amateur. Like, for example, think of ESC Ever, now BBQ Olivers. They won the first KeSPA Cup as an amateur team, and while that is strictly true, it is different to a collection of solo queue players who came together to play ISF, then went back to solo queue, and then maybe did a couple of scrims in the past couple of weeks, but they are not in any way a team with a backing. They are very much the real soul of what it means to be an amateur, and they have taken down one of the biggest possible sponsors. Such a massive victory here for KEG that words don't really do justice for. A very famous day in League of Legends history.
Definitely will go down as such. I mean, this team doesn't even have a coach. They did it all themselves. There was no one even back there doing analysis.
We had to
They
cancel the
didn't have
pre-match
subs.
interview because they didn't have a coach to interview.
There was no one to interview. And, I mean, they don't have people doing analysis. They have to just do it all off of their own field. They have to do the pick ban all by themselves. They don't have a squad of 3 coaches that is doing this. What does this say about these guys? I mean, Hanwha Life, not the best series for sure, but I think we're definitely going to see some of them in the future move up to the pro level.
It's just such a romantic victory, and I use that word a lot about the FA Cup, which I talked about, which is where a non-league team 9 divisions below Chelsea or Arsenal can play them in a best-of-1 on one day. But this is the ultimate, this is the epitome of that. The levels between a pickup team and Hanwha Life Esports with a big sponsor are reminiscent of those levels. These guys cannot have the same level of application to the game. They are not professionals. They cannot play full-time. It doesn't matter that 2 of their players are on a practice squad for SKT. This is such a different thing. Gumayusi, their AD carry, Innovation's brother, is 16 years old, Valdez.
Look at how clean he is in this fight. He gets in there, uses the net. The second he flashes, the trinket comes down immediately to make sure he can get that ult.
He's not even 17 years of age, or Western age. He's 16. He can't even play in LCK Spring. He will not be registered because they already had 2 AD carries. Leo was there, and of course Teddy as a starter. But it's insane what these 5 players have been able to achieve in spite of everything we've learned about competitive esports. They go out, they close the game, they look clean doing it, and what an amazing story for the side of KG.
I mean, every single person on this squad had a moment where their mechanics really popped off, or their positioning was really fantastic. Think about Elam in the last game, Olaf flanking from behind and getting 2 kills on the Nico and the Ashe in game number 2. You think about the mechanics of Pop and his lanterns this time around. You know, the Zoe and the top laner in the Sion. Even Doran Sion looked really fantastic this game around. Definitely getting a bit excited, but there's a lot to get excited after a match like this where they just, I mean, even in this fight, they're able to go against the riposte, perfectly timed hook, keep everybody alive, keep them away from the Caitlyn and the Thresh. And there you have it. Ezreal does the most damage, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Amazing victory by KEG. Unforgettable, and the KeSPA Cup has opened up here in 2018 in the biggest way possible. We will see KEG go forward. We'll have to see that bracket to understand who they'll be facing in the future, but that is a story for another day. Today is a day of celebration for all esports fans out there, for everyone who loves an underdog. The ultimate underdog has won against Hanwha Life Esports. I'm happy to hear an interview from one of these young players who could not have expected to be giving an interview to the thousands of viewers at home, but they certainly deserve it.
Well, if there's one guy I would pick out, it would have to be Gumayusi. His mechanics have won my heart over. No doubt we'll be seeing this guy as he does get older. We are going to have an interview with one of the members here from the side of KG Seoul. It is going to be Gumayusi. Congratulations. A lot of fans still learning about the kind of players that you guys are, so why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? I am the AD carry from KG Seoul, and I'm now the trainee from SKT. I've heard a lot about your career in the past. And one of the big ones was that you're a trainee at SKT, obviously gigantic news. KG, the only amateur team to take out a pro team. Super impressive performance. How did you feel after such a historic victory? It's not only an LCK team, it's a strong team like Hanwha. It's not one of the guys at the bottom. The fact that we were able to get the reverse sweep made us even happier at the end of the day. So there were a lot of people doubting that after you lost the first map that an amateur team could come back and win 2 maps in a row. So After winning these 2 matches in a row, which player was really leading the charge? Who was the guy shot calling in this one?
2, 3세트는 저희 느낌 그대로 가자 하면서 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
와, 두 번째 세트에서 보여줬던
We just, try to play as a team and encourage each other to play as best as we can. We all kind of shot call for each other.
얘기하는 걸 잠깐 들었는데 뭐 오늘 몇 번째
A lot of people still amazed
막 이런 얘기 하시더라고요.
about
자, 오늘 선수들이 꼽은
this
MVP 어떤
victory.
선수인가요?
선수들이요? 일단 자기들끼리는 서로 자기라고 하는 것 같아요.
네.
So the players were picking amongst each other who would be the MVP
진짜 두 번째, 세
from
번째
this
세트
matchup, and everybody was saying that
가져가는 선택도 놀라웠습니다.
Gumiusi was the MVP.
이렇게 빠르게 가져간다는 거 좀 어려울 수도 있는
So it felt really good to be
이런
selected
선택의
for this
배경도
honor.
어떤가요?
일단 이번 대회 서버에서 케이틀린이 버프를 되게 많이 받았더라고요. 그래서 일단 처음에
So this new patch hasn't been around for a while. It came out this morning. How did you adapt to the patch in preparation of this match?
아무래도 이렇게 자신 있게 원딜을 빠르게 가져간 이유는 뒤에서 묵묵히 정말 든든하게
Because our
받쳐주는
champions
서포터
worked really well in the
첫
second
번째
match.
지원을 얘기를 안 할 수가 없을 것 같아요. 오늘 뭐 브라움이면 브라움, 쓰레쉬면 쓰레쉬 정말 놀라운 세이브도 많이 나왔거든요.
So we were able to work that out really well in the second match, and so we were able to roll that over into match number 3.
게임하면서 뭐라 많이 했는데
Any words you want to say to your supporters and your new fans out there?
A lot of new ones.
자, 이제 시작일 것 같습니다. KG 서울 과연 이번 캐스파컵에서 얼만큼 올라갈지 많은 분들이 기대하고 계실 것 같은데요. 지켜보고 계신 팬분들에게도 한마디 부탁드립니다.
So lots of new names, big names out there, but thank you for all the support from me and our team.
저희 계속 경기하는 모습 지켜봐 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
So because we were able to win against the LCK team, I hope that our team, all the players here, were able to earn a lot of fans after this matchup. And I thank you very much for watching us tonight.
Well, I can definitely rubber stamp that request. Very
Yes.
well deserved will be the new fans here, and they will be for future teams. Again, this is the pickup squad that represents the best players in Seoul compared to, say, the best players in Incheon or Gyeonggi or Busan. This is very much a famous victory for the side of KG Seoul. 36 minutes 40, one of the longer games we'll see on this patch in that final game, but certainly deserved. They were the better team over the course of 3. It was only the scaling from Hanhwa Life that bailed them out in game number 1. This bracket already needs to be ripped up. Everyone's fantasy bracket for the KeSPA Cup was wrong. KEG Seoul has taken down Hanhwa Life, and what we thought we knew is suddenly very much in doubt.
Yeah, and I was looking at the bracket earlier on. Not sure if we're going to show that to you guys on screen, but it's going to be... Okay,
there it is.
Well, there it is. I called it up. I summoned it. Damwon Gaming versus Brion Blade is going to be one of those guys is going to go up against KEG Seoul. So that's the next hype matchup if you're following this team and you want to see, well, who are they going to be going up against? Probably Damwon Gaming, but as you said, rip up the bracket, who knows? But if it is Damwon Gaming, we're going to have mid-main up against Showmaker in the mid lane. That's going to be insane.
What about
for that
Nogari
matchup.
against top main? That's great too. The solo lane matchups, especially at Poppin. And Nuclear's going to have to be on his best behavior because I think Gumiusi will be coming out once again for a bit more fun to back up his MVP performance.
Yeah, no doubt there. Maybe it runs in their blood. I'm not sure. We mentioned it before. He's the younger brother, only 16 behind his older brother, Innovation, who is he just has so many championships in the StarCraft 2 scene. So maybe this new guy coming up in a new game as a youngin', already an SKT trainee. We're going to have to wait another year until he turns 17 to actually see him in the LCK, but he's already probably made enough fans.
Honestly, now it's washing over me a bit that he can now call his brother and talk about how when the time that he got to speak to this thousands of people out there watching these games as the MVP after being Innovation's brother and watching his brother give so many other speeches at Africa and other esports stadiums around.
Yeah, it's insane, the stories amongst this historic night, but thank you guys once again for watching. It's been a long one, but we're going to see you guys tomorrow for more KeSPA Cup action. Be there or be square. We'll see you then, guys.